Hello and welcome to a new semester of Watching Washington. It's Friday, February 13th, and I'm Julia Moran. Here's a look at the top stories of the week. The investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, continues in Phoenix. An individual has been released after being detained for questioning in the search for Nancy Guthrie. The person was detained during a traffic stop an hour's drive south of Tucson. A law enforcement official said the person has not been charged. Authorities executed a search warrant at home and also searched for a car. Both of these searches took place in Rio Rico, Arizona, roughly 60 miles south of Tucson near the U.S.-Mexico border. Those developments happened just hours after the FBI released doorbell camera footage from outside Nancy Guthrie's front door, taken the night she disappeared. The video showed a masked, armed person with a backpack. There was an uptick in calls to law enforcement after the release of the footage. It's not clear if the person who was detained is the same individual seen in the surveillance footage, but experts say the video is likely to come up during questioning.
And once they saw they were following me, I pulled over. They didn't even have to put a traffic stop or anything. I got off the car, and they arrested me as soon as I got off the car. They didn't even tell me what was going on until the detectives got here, like 2 hours before I got arrested. And then the detectives got here. It was the FBI agent in Santa Cruz County. And they told me I was being detained for kidnapping. And I asked them, like, well, kidnapping of who? And they told me this lady, I don't know her name. And
Nancy Guthrie?
yeah, that's her. And I told them I work in Tucson for GLS. I might have delivered a package to your house, but I never kidnapped anybody.
The Senate rejected a proposal Thursday providing funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Since no decision was reached before today's deadline, the DHS will shut down until further notice. Agencies affected by this include FEMA, the TSA, Coast Guard, and ICE.
There's no reason we can't get this done by Thursday. We have sent them legislative language. Look, the bottom line is it was incomplete and insufficient. We need legislative language that will rein in ICE and end the violence. Their proposal didn't come close to doing that.
As Congress discusses DHS funding, U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan announced plans to end the immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. In a press conference Thursday, he said the decision was made with approval from President Trump and the removal of federal agents has already begun.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue through the next week.
We'll continue to follow this and other immigration crackdown stories as they develop. Late Tuesday night, the Federal Aviation Administration issued an emergency order closing the airspace around El Paso International Airport. The restriction halted commercial, cargo, and general aviation flights, citing special security reasons, though officials provided few details at the time. The sudden shutdown left airlines scrambling and passengers stranded, with several flights delayed or canceled without advance warning. Emergency medical transports and cargo operations were also temporarily impacted. By Wednesday morning, the FAA lifted the temporary flight restriction and announced that normal operations could resume, saying there was no longer a threat to commercial aviation. Federal officials later indicated the initial closure was tied to security concerns near the U.S.-Mexico border, including possible drone activity. However, specific details remain unclear.
This unnecessary decision has caused chaos and confusion in the El Paso community. I want to be very, very clear that this should have never happened. You cannot restrict airspace over a major city without coordinating with the city, the airport, the hospitals, the community leadership. That failure to communicate is unacceptable.
On Wednesday, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy posted on social media that the FAA and DOW acted swiftly to address a, quote, cartel drone incursion. He added that the threat had been neutralized and stated there was no longer a danger to commercial travel in the region. The British Museum announced this week that it has successfully raised £3.5 million to obtain the Tudor heart pendant. According to Reuters, the pendant was lost for hundreds of years. That is, until it was found by a metal detectorist in an English field. The The necklace is the only piece of jewelry that still exists from Henry VIII's marriage to his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. The museum said in a news release that it created a fundraising campaign to ensure the Tudor heart pendant would remain in public collection. Thanks to generous donors, including the National Heritage Memorial Fund, the museum met that goal. The necklace will soon be on display so that everyone can enjoy its beauty. The Olympics are a celebration of athletic excellence, but for many competitors, the Games are also deeply personal, a moment to honor loved ones and share stories that go beyond sports. For one U.S. figure skater, this year's debut is especially meaningful. On Tuesday, Maxim Naumov made his Olympic debut in Milan. Naumov's parents were killed in last year's plane crash outside Washington, D.C., when an American Airlines regional jet collided with a Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River. Naumov said that after his parents' death, he wouldn't know if he would ever skate again. After completing his routine Tuesday, he held up a picture of his parents while waiting for his scores. He will compete again in the men's free skate today. While some Olympic tributes have been embraced as personal moments of remembrance, a separate incident involving a Ukrainian athlete is drawing controversy. The International Olympic Committee disqualified Ukrainian skeleton racer Vladislav Haraskevich after he wore a helmet honoring Ukrainian athletes killed in Russian strikes. The IOC says the tribute violated rules prohibiting political statements during competition. President Vladimir Zelensky defended the athlete, saying Ukrainians are competing under wartime conditions.
Рішення Міжнародного олімпійського комітету проти
The decision of the International Olympic Committee against Vladislav Haraskevich, our athlete who simply remembers and honors Ukrainian athletes whose lives were taken by Russian strikes, is definitely not about peace, justice, or the principles of the Olympic movement. Sport should not be without memory and respect. Ukrainians are already preparing for competitions in special conditions, in conditions of war, and it is not political to talk about what is really happening.
The International Olympic Committee has not announced any further action. Up next, Attorney General Pam Bondi testified before lawmakers, and the exchange got heated. Plus, a hidden passage inside a New York museum is believed to have once been a part of the Underground Railroad. Stay with us, those stories are coming up next.
Hola from Spain. G'day, mates. Buenos dias.
Bonjour.
Hello from South Korea.
I'm studying abroad in Valencia, Spain this semester.
I'm studying abroad in Sydney, Australia.
I'm studying abroad in Madrid, Spain.
Studying at Seoul National University.
At Issai Super-Héros in Toulouse, France.
And I'm really getting to enjoy meeting all the new people and the culture.
How different it is from Purdue University.
It is an absolutely fantastic experience.
I'm living my best life. I can't wait to see you guys all overseas soon. A bientôt.
Adios.
Nos vemos de España.
I'm Rachel. I'm 19 years old. I'm a sophomore in computer engineering here at Purdue, and I'm the president of DAO. So DAO stands for Dance All Out, and it's kind of like a community where all dancers of different skill levels and artists have a space to express themselves and be artists and perform. We perform at things like the AAA Night Market and the VA, the Variation Showcase, at the end of the semester. We even had our own showcase last year, and that was really exciting. DAO not only offers like weekly classes and performance opportunities, but kind of like a really strong community/family to do it with. When people talk about college, or when you see in like coming of age movies, it's all about like the main character finding like the place where they belong, whether it's in school or like extracurricular or like with their friends or another hobby. But like this could be the place where you find like your coming of age moment, and like it could be the place where you discover like a big part of your life.
This week on Capitol Hill, Attorney General Pam Bondi testified before a heated House Judiciary Committee. The questions covered a variety of topics, but most centered around the Department of Justice's handling of the Epstein files release. Lawmakers sparred with Bondi over the redactions and delayed release of the files, as well as what some committee members called a lack of investigation into those named in the report. A group of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein attended the hearing. At one point, they were asked to stand up and raise their hand if they had not been able to meet up with the DOJ.
I want to take a moment to acknowledge the Epstein survivors who are here today. I'm a career prosecutor, and despite what the ranking member said, I have spent my entire career fighting for victims, and I will continue to do so. I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through, especially as a result of that monster. If you have any information to share with law enforcement about anyone who has hurt you or abused you, the FBI is waiting to hear from you.
Bondi defended her office's handling of the files and maintained President Trump's innocence, despite his previous friendship with Epstein and the fact his name was mentioned in the files thousands of times. A hidden passageway was found inside a house museum in Manhattan. The passageway is believed to have been used in the Underground Railroad and as a safe house. The Merchants House Museum was originally built in the 1830s by a known abolitionist named Joseph Brewster. Even though the museum has been open since 1936, the actual structure inside the west wall was not deeply understood. Architects confirmed the hidden vertical passage was designed for enslaved people to escape the South. The entry to the passageway was located on the second floor in the built-in drawers. Opening the bottom drawer revealed a ladder that led to the ground floor. City Council members hope to preserve the passageway and state that it is a way to learn more about New York's history and its role in the abolitionist movement. The museum plans to put the passageway into their tours for the public. The national debt is expected to nearly double in the next 10 years. Right now, it stands at a bit more than $38 trillion. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office is forecasting it will hit $64 trillion in the next 10 years. Much of the immediate increase is attributed to President Donald Trump's tax and spending package enacted last summer. The CBO report says growing interest costs and safety net programs drive up the debt. Authorities in Ontario are investigating a deadly school shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School on Tuesday. Officials say 10 people were killed during the attack, which happened during school hours and prompted an immediate lockdown. The suspect is also dead. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says the country is now in mourning.
On the advice of the Clerk of the Privy Council and Heritage Canada, I've asked that the flags in the Peace Tower here and across all government buildings be flown at half-mast for the next 7 days. We will get through this, we will learn from this, but right now it's a time to come together, as Canadians always do in these situations, these terrible situations, to support each other, to mourn together.
Flags at federal buildings will remain at half-staff for the next 7 days. Investigators continue to work to determine a motive. Super Bowl 60 was this past Sunday. It was a historic night which saw the Seattle Seahawks defend the New England Patriots. Halftime featured a performance by artist Bad Bunny, and several special guests joined him on stage. Seattle set the tone early in this one with a stifling defense keeping New England from scoring for much of the night. A mistake-free day from quarterback Sam Darnold and a powerful running from Kenneth Walker III kept the Seahawks in front once the scoring started. With an average of nearly 125 million viewers, it marked the second most watched Super Bowl in history. Bad Bunny's halftime performance drew in just over 128 million viewers, making it the fourth most watched halftime show ever. The high-energy performance featured vibrant choreography and visuals. Celebrities like Pedro Pascal and Cardi B appeared within the show, and Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin made guest appearances. Many wondered about an apparent wedding that took place during the halftime show. Multiple reports say it was an actual ceremony. In fact, we're told the couple had invited Bad Bunny to their wedding, and in response, he showcased them on one of the biggest stages in sports. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Watching Washington.